Good morning and welcome back to Country Wife Mommy Life. My name is Charity and this week I'm going to show you how I set up our homeschool for the week. I'm hiding in my bedroom because this is one of the quietest places in my house right now. Normally I try to do this on a Saturday afternoon or even a Sunday afternoon, but that didn't work. So we're going to do it bright and early on a Monday morning, on a cold Monday morning. So I'm going to show you how I set up our school for the week. And if I can show you maybe my planner for the week, we'll see if we can get that in here. So the first thing I'm going to do is get my oldest son's binder, and I'm going to take out his schoolwork from last week. So what they do is I'll just show you here. So I split everything up into folders. So this is his language arts folder, and he puts his completed work on this side, so it's here in the back. So I'm just going to pull that out and make sure that he actually did all of his work for the week. There are still some pages on the right hand side, and most of the time there's actually just one page. Most of the time he will finish up Friday with one side of the page, and then the next side of the page will be for Monday. So that's what happened in this case. So I simply remove the work from each folder. He has some writing, so I make sure that he's done all of his writing pages for the week, and they do their writing in a composition book. So I just kind of glance through and make sure that he's doing what he's supposed to be doing and that his writing's actually getting better. That's good. Now this page of writing I will actually keep in here because this is their test page, and it has multiple tests on here, so they will use that or at least once this week, maybe next week too, we'll see. So that gets set aside, and then that's all that he has in his binder for the moment. So I'm going to go through and remove each child's previous the work from the previous week, and then I'll show you how I fill that up. So now that I've taken all the previous week's work out, now I'm going to get into my bin that I keep all their schoolwork in, their school books in. And I'm going to start with the third graders, my twins, and I'll pull out their work for the week. So I pop the lid off. And if you saw my previous video on how I organize our schoolwork, this is still how we're doing it. So everything's just lined up in here. I've got 3rd grade, 5th grade, and 7th grade. And then in the front, I just have our writing books, our reproducible pages, and the stuff for my kindergartners. So I'm going to start with math. So I'll take out the math books. So that's for one twin and the second twin. Set that aside. And then for today, we're going to start with lesson 28. So what I'm going to do is, since today is Monday, that we school Monday through Friday, so I'm going to pull out 5 pages Monday through Friday. And I just simply rip them right out of the book. Just like that. They're perforated, so they just come out perfectly. So that is for one twin. And that is for the second twin. And so these books are done, so I'll put these back here in a moment. Actually, I guess I'll put them back now because I'm running out of space. That's that. And then they also have a speed drill book that we use that corresponds with their lessons. So since we're starting on lesson 28 and we end the week with lesson 32, I can see that they have a test today for lesson 28, so we'll pull that out. And then they'll also have speed drills throughout the week, which correspond with each of the lessons. So we'll go through lesson 32 this week. There's that. And there's that. So now their math homework is pulled out for the week. So now we'll put these away. Okay, the next subject is language arts. We've got that pulled out here. And again, we're simply going to pull out the lessons for the week. Now, I know that in their binders, they already have lesson 28 because one side of the page will be one lesson. The next side of the page will be the following lesson. So I'm only going to pull out up to lesson 32. There we go. And then we'll put these back. Okay, and then for the 5th grader, same thing. We're just going to continue to pull out all the lessons. And then it appears that 32 is a test for him, so that'll be easy. So his math is pulled out. And then he also has a test book, test and speed drill book. Math is pulled out. This is just the easiest way I have found to keep this organized. It works so incredibly well for me. I can't even tell you how well this works. It's just an easy system to use. And then we have language arts. Again, same thing. We'll pull out through lesson 32. That back. And there we go. And he's done. So for my 7th grader, I talked about in my homeschool video that he's actually doing his math on the computer this year. So I don't actually have to pull out any math homework for him. It's all done on teaching textbooks is what we're using this year, and it's working very, very well for us. I cannot tell you how happy I am about that. So, but I do need to pull out his grammar and composition book. Language arts, it's still the same subject. Just grammar and composition is what they're working on more since their language skills at this point in 7th grade are already developed. So he has Monday's work already in his binder because I showed you that page earlier that I didn't pull out. So I just have to go through. And his book is set up a little bit different. Alarm's going off. His book is set up a little bit differently in that he doesn't have any lessons. His lessons are not marked. So I actually have to go through and plan out his grammar lessons. So I just have to kind of sit down and go through the lessons and kind of assign him. It's anywhere from 2 to 4 pages a day for this. So just kind of going through and working on that. And then I can see that he is going to be having an essay coming up soon. So that'll be nice. He'll be working on an essay here shortly. So I've gone ahead and pulled out his work for the week. And again, I will put this away where it belongs. And that's all I have to do as far as pulling pages out. Next, what I'm going to do is go through and mark these pages. I'll mark the tops Monday through Friday so they know how many pages they're supposed to do every day. Now we have all of the papers labeled. I went downstairs and copied the reproducible pages that we needed for handwriting. And I realized that I already had enough pages for my little guys. We took off a couple days last week because I was doing apples, canning apples, and I just didn't have time to school my 5-year-old and my 4-year-old who are in kindergarten this year. So the older boys did their work, but I slacked off on the little guys because we had apples to do. So they have plenty of pages in theirs. So at this point, all I'm going to do is stuff the folders for their work. So I'm going to start with my oldest, my 7th grader. He has his writing pages, and they're all labeled Tuesday through Friday. Because they will have a test in penmanship today. So that's already done. So I'm going to just simply put that in his writing folder. This process really does not take very long. It's just an easy way for me to stay organized and for the kids to know exactly what is expected of them. If they have something marked for every day, it's very easy for them to see what day they're supposed to do it, and they know everything that they're supposed to accomplish in that day. So he has that, and I put his language arts in his language arts folder. And again, he does his math on the computer, so that's not even something I need to worry about. I did print out a multiplication fact sheet because he told me he was struggling with his multiplication tables a little bit and just kind of needs a refresher course on that. So I printed this out, and he's going to work on that at some point this week. So his work is done. His core subjects are done. And then for my 5th grader, I'm simply going to take his math homework. And I have that all organized here. Put the speed drills on one side and his math homework on the other side. Okay, math is done, and we're going to switch to the language arts. I have all of his pages here. Again, they're marked by days. Slide that in, and that's done. Last subject here that he has individual work for is writing. So slide his writing pages in, and that will be done. And his folder is now complete for the week. Okay, my 3rd grader. Grab his math. Where did I put it? There it is. Put his speed drills on one side. He'll work on those all week long. And then his math homework on the other side. Same thing with the language arts. Sliding it right in. And then his writing. All in all, I would say the setup for the week probably takes me about 30 minutes. Part of it depends on how much copy work I need to, well, not copy work, but reproducible pages I need to print. This week, again, it was a little easier because I didn't do that with my kindergartners. So we'll definitely spend more time with them this week, kind of catching up a little bit, but again, they're in kindergarten, so as long as they learn to read and write this year, I am perfectly happy with that. Taking a few days off is not going to be too detrimental for them. There's that. Language arts. And writing. We do use a history curriculum of sorts. It's called the Mystery of History. We're doing volume 2 this year. That is actually a group subject, and we'll all sit around the table and I will read their lesson to them and we will discuss, whatever the lesson happens to be about. But there's not actually any work for that. It's just reading and different resources for that. For science, we do a variety of things. I'm not too concerned about how much science they're doing as far as a curriculum goes until they get closer to high school, and then we'll start really honing in on that. Because as I've learned over the years, every year it's just basically a repeat with just a little bit of additional information. So they get a lot of that just from being out here in the country. We learn about the flowers and the trees and the weather. They also learn a lot about gardening because we put in a full-size garden for our family of 9. They learn about food preservation, which we have hit heavy this fall. They learn about the various animals. We'll be sitting around the dinner table and somebody will ask just a random question, and that leads us on a very merry chase of I don't know the answer. Let's find out the answer. So we'll get on Google and we'll discuss various elements of whatever their question happened to be about. So that's kind of how we do science right now. Again, we'll get a little bit more rigorous with that as they enter high school, but that's not something I'm overly concerned about at this point. And that's pretty much it. All of the binders are filled up. So I will gather up these papers and simply take them downstairs and file them away so that if somebody were to ever ask me, what are your kids doing? I can pull out these pages and say, here's what we are doing in the state of Illinois to homeschool our children. So I hope you found that helpful. And if you have any questions, leave them down below and I'll be happy to answer whatever questions I can. I'll see you next time. Bye.